aware that Chairman Echeverria was at his father's funeral today. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if he will be logging in. Okay, Vice Chair Laguardia,
Yeah, present.
Secretary Treasurer Cruz,
Here.
Commissioner Camacho, Mr. Vice Chair, I don't see Commissioner Camacho logged on just yet. Commissioner Orlino,
Here.
Commissioner Rios,
Here.
Commissioner Westling. Commissioner Westling, you're on mute.
Here.
Mr. Vice Chair, you have a quorum. You have a quorum of 5.
Okay, let's begin the meeting. Start with the items on the agenda, Mr. Director.
Okay. Mr. Vice Chair, you're not going to announce the public notice, the publication?
Yeah, okay, wait, I don't have that application with me. Oh, hang on. Madam Secretary, do you have that with you? I need to,
Yes, I do.
okay, can you do that, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
In compliance with public law 24-109, Guam ancestral lands published in the public meeting, published the public meeting announcement for Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. And Guam is posted on Wednesday, April 5, 2023, and Monday, April 10, 2023. Copies of the published GAL notice, meeting notices. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, from there we have 3 minutes that need the commissioner, the Board of Commissions approval. The minutes for March 8, 2023, the minutes for March 20, 2023, and the minutes for March 27, 2023.
okay, do we need time for that, the rest of the members to review that, or is there a motion to approve subject to corrections?
Shut them off. They just go up to the go down e-call.
I did get a chance to all three meetings, not accurately, maybe not accurately, but I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to approve the minutes for the following dates, all three.
Uh, Not sure. Is there any objection for all three from any of the commissioners? Unless then there's an objection, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the regular, the meeting for March 8th, 2020. That's a regular. The special meeting for March 20, 2023, and March 27, 2023. That one is also a special meeting, subject to audio corrections.
Okay, is there a second on that motion? Do I hear a second?
Can I just make a correction on my motion?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and it's subject to corrections per audio recordings. Okay, on all three meetings.
Acknowledged. Okay, is there a second to that motion?
This is Commissioner Westling. I'll second that motion.
Oh, okay, seconded by Commissioner Westling. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Raise your
Aye.
hand. Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Next item will be the Executive Director's Report concerning the RFP Ancestral Lands 22-001 Independent Audit Service. The legal issues identified by the Attorney General's office with the audit contract between Ancestral Lands and the audit company Ernst and Young LLP for independent audit services are being addressed and should be completed by the end of this week. Then the transfer of funds to the investment firms has been completed. From transfer from Coast 360 split equally between Asia Pacific Group Raymond James and the Bank of Guam Investment Services with instructions to invest the funds conservatively was also completed by March 31, 2023. And attached to my report, you see the balances at Coast 360. So thus far, we've transferred out close to $14 million to be invested in higher earning interest, and we still have about $1.8 million left at Coast 360. There are other issues that have come up since I wrote this report. Next week on the Wednesday, the 19th, we have a meeting with the Office of Finance and Budget at the legislature concerning our FY24 budget. So it's a pretty busy week for us dealing with that. Plus, we're also doing our best to answer a request from the Speaker's office about fair market values and properties that have been returned and have not been returned, and those have been taken by the federal government. We hope to get that to her on time at her deadline of April 20. So we're on track with getting that ready for her. So yeah, it's kind of busy. So I'll give you an update on that as we move forward. But based on that, I believe the reason for the information the speaker is requesting is because a hearing will be set soon, is my understanding, for the land bank reform bill that's before. I'm not sure which committee it is at the legislature at this time, but my understanding is that will be coming up soon. I'll keep you apprised of that. So let me know if you need any further information on the director's report.
Any questions on that matter, members? I just have one question, Mr. Director. You
Yes.
know, just briefly hearing on the Reform Act, the there was a section there that indicated that the compensation that will be awarded to the landowners will subtract from the federal monies that were paid out already. Is that still in there?
I believe you're correct. I'd have to go through it again. I think that may be in there. They may, but that's a decision, a policy decision that it's in bill form now. But that's a policy decision that the legislature would make, whether or not to keep that in there, or
Okay.
because I do know your question is valid, that some people have in the past have gotten some compensation and they have gotten their land back. And for those that have not did not receive their land or get their land back, would that be fair that some of those people objected to obtaining any compensation, and yet they still haven't gotten their property back? And some of them may have received compensation, but it will be deducted from any amount returned to them. So yes, I understand that's a very sensitive issue. And that's how come we need to find out the position of the legislature and what would they prefer to be in there. But I believe you're right that language is in there.
Okay. Any other matters of concern by the members? Okay, with that, we move on the next items. Are you done with your report, Mr. Director?
Yes, Mr. Vice
Okay.
Chair.
Okay,
The next item on the agenda
Okay.
would be the GITA progress report, Mr.
Okay.
Vice Chair.
Okay, well, we'll proceed with that. Tony, you have the floor.
Yes, buenas and good afternoon, GALC, Vice Chair LaGuardia and all commissioners, as well as GALC Executive Director Birch, your staff, and all the legal counsel and members participating. Afternoon, my name is Tony Ariola, representing GITA, and I'm here to present to you the monthly progress report. The following is a progress report on GITA's effort to manage land bank trust properties as required by Section 1 of the MOU, GITA, and the GALC Land Bank Trust. First item on the list, or first tenant, is a Weddingale Junction, Northern Market. Their monthly rent of $27,854.51. Their outstanding balance as of April 7 is $1,549,940.69. Their total deferred, undeferred, and interest due as of October 31, 2022. That was the period that their deferral ended. It equates to a total of $1,466,377.16. The last payment received by Northern Market was on February 8, 2023. What's going on is GALC Board Commission is currently reviewing Northern Market's proposal. And I also want to inform the commission that we also were able to provide all the account summaries for the GALC tenants. And that was provided to you attached with the progress report that was sent to you, to everyone earlier. Apple Harbor parcel number 1, that's Quick Space. Their monthly rent of $3,989.13, with their outstanding balance as of April 7 is $4,223.79. And their last payment was remitted on March 15, 2023. Also, the account summary for their fiscal year 23 account summary is attached. Apple Harbor Reservation F12 Matson Navigation Company, their monthly rent of $27,733, with their outstanding balance of $27,733. Their last payment received on March 31, pending their April 2023 payment. Lot Apple Harbor Reservation F12 R2, that's Transstill, their monthly rent of $500, with an outstanding balance of $9,300. Their last payment was remitted on March 23rd, 2023 in the amount of $600. Tengisan Cable Landing Station, that's the AT&E cable station. Their monthly rent of $22,939.42. Their outstanding balance is $0. We received their ACH payment on April 4th, 2023. Lot Apple Harbor Reservation F12, Smith Bridge, Guam. Their monthly rent of $8,800. $0 is outstanding balance. Their last payment received on April 4th. Lot 10155, that's the Farmers Co-op Market. Their annual rent for calendar year 2021, their outstanding balance now is $2,009.30. They made their first installment payment of $401.86 that was remitted on April 5th. This is their 6 months payment plan request. We are pending their CY22 financial statements to determine their annual payment due for May 2023. Teason Properties, Guam Environmental Protection Agency building, their monthly rent of $8,000. Their outstanding balance as of April 7 is $256,000. We received their payment on March 16, 2023 in the amount of $8,000. We still have a balance of $24,000 pending and it's going through DOA. Hopefully we will be receiving that payment soon. I spoke to Connie, their ASO, and she stated that they will be remitting more payments as funds become available. Department of Public Health Social Services, that's the WIC program. Their monthly rent of $8,400, with their outstanding balance of $29,000 $99.35. We received a lump sum payment of $42,000 that was remitted on March 3rd via ACH. GALC and GIDA also received a renewed letter of intent to extend their MOU via email on March 20. That's for the next 5 years. Other items on the list is the F12 Polaris Point Mitigation Plan. This is the Smith Bridge lease property. The update status and the mitigation plan from the Guam Environmental Protection Agency. Che, one of their environmental specialists representative, stated that they are pending US EPA's decision on the mitigation plan through their Brownfields grant program. And this concludes my monthly progress report for April 7. Please let me know if there's any questions. Thanks.
Any questions from the commissioners? No questions?
Jack,
Okay, any others? So with that, I want to thank you, Tony, for your report. I was taking good notes on that, and yeah, we just need to catch up on noticed that they're making efforts to pay up, most likely, look at that, WIC came up with 42K, right? And others are trying to catch up. So there are efforts on some, except the Northern Marketing there. That's a very big matter there that we are going to pay more attention to, I understand. To the subcommittee report, was that, Mr. Director, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so any other questions? No questions?
Other
We move on
question.
to, go ahead.
Okay, I
Commissioner
hope
Cruz.
they're going to be available later on when we get an updated report from Northern Market, because I did ask for a recommendation from Gita as well as from the director. So I hope they're going to be still at the meeting until that is done. Thank you.
Very good. Very well. Okay, any other matters? Any other questions from the commissioners? If not,
Okay,
Mr. Director, we move on.
Yeah, moving into old business, Mr. Vice Chair, would be Northern Market.
Okay,
Okay, Mr. Chair, I don't see anybody here representing Northern Market. If there is, please let us know. But basically, the issue here was on a request for a proposal from Northern Market submitted on March 7, 2023, the proposal for arrears repayment and rent modification. In summary, what they asked was to pay $150,000 towards arrears by June 30, 2023. They requested a rent deferment during construction period, estimated to be 18 months. No date was provided for the start of construction, and amortization of current arrears and deferred 18 months over the initial lease term expiring December 1, 2063. That's over 40 years. And a modification of rent to reflect a portion of the property used in phase 1, which will again be adjusted upon completion of phase 2. And then the second partial arrears payment will be upon securing financing for phase 2, no timeline and amounts provided. And phase 3 will involve the development of more than half of the remaining 13.3 acres of the property after phases 1 and 2 are complete. Again, no timeline provided. With this, the commission, together with Gita, our chairman, and Commissioner Westling, and the staff here at Ancestral Lands, had a work session on March 24, 2023 regarding this. And I don't know if Commissioner Westling, would you want to go through the bullet points that were made, or would you want me to read those out? Commissioner, you're on mute.
Yes, Director Birch, go ahead and read these bullet points because they pretty much they do state the consensus of the body that met during the special work session on what
thank-
what we want to recommend to the board as a whole as far as the next step.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so these were the recommendations that that we had at the work session. One was to reject Northern Markets March 7, 2023 proposal for arrears repayment and rent modification. Two was for the commission to adhere to, and that's to follow the terms of the lease agreement. And the three was Northern Market is to settle arrears payments before the commission is to have any discussions on rent modification. Next, four is a written notice will be given to Northern Market informing them that they have 15 and 30 days to cure the default. That's something we'll probably have Attorney Miller clarify for us. And last was Northern Market must make a substantial payment towards arrears within a reasonable time frame or be declared in default. That's pretty much a summary of what took place in that work session. We're open for, Gita was present too, and we're open for any questions or discussions that you may have on this, but I feel that a motion should be made before we are to move forward. Mr. Vice Chair.
Okay, very well. I just would like to get the opinion of our attorney, Attorney Miller. That is a straight up stop sign on that, and well, I support it. However, will we be subject to possible litigation ramifications on that? To get a lawsuit on that on us?
There's no guarantees as to what anyone will or will not do. But if you stick to the contract and what the contract is there for,
Okay.
and the terms of it, then the chips just fall where they may. There's no way to 100% protect the commission from a suit. And it may be that perhaps with this, that the parties could come back to the table and try to resolve things before it gets to that.
Okay. Thank you. I have
Thank
no
you.
objections. Thank you, Attorney Miller. I have no objection to the recommendation of the committee. Any other concerns from the other members? If not, I guess we should move forward and ratify that resolution and get the ball rolling. I want to thank the subcommittee for their work in suggesting that matter, because yeah, that is a big debt that they owe. I mean, we were placed on media regarding that, and we just should not allow those matters to occur again in future leases.
I
With
have a
that-
comment.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Commissioner Cruz?
so that answers my question. Gita was involved in the, I'm sure, a workshop and decision-making or recommendation on that work session, and what that involves also Commissioner Wessling. And yes, that was a lot of brainstorming, I'm sure. Very much.
Very well. Any other concerns? Any other comments?
Vice Chairman Lawatna, this is Commissioner Wessling.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Wesley.
And since I did sit in the subcommittee, I welcome any questions from our board as to the arrival, as to the subcommittee's recommendation to the board. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And Commissioner Cruz, yes, Gita was represented well that day, and they provided substantial documentation. Specifically, I had requested a chronological report of all rents received from Northern Market over the past 9 years, I think. I believe the lease started in 2014. To date, and we went over the lease agreement. Attorney Miller was present also in the meeting, as well as the full staff and management of Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. We discussed at great length the proposals that were presented to the board over the past, let's say, 6 to 8 months. And how things that were presented verbally, that was requested to be put in writing, that was never put in writing, never came to fruition. And what did finally come in as writing, as far as from Northern Market, was very much contrary to what they represented to us in 2022. And basically, we were reminded that whose interest we have utmost responsibility to, and that is to the stakeholders, the dispossessed owners. I think we all agreed that looking over the years, Guam Ancestral Lands Commission truly was probably one of the biggest fans and supporters of Northern Market, but it is very apparent due to their formal proposals for continuation that that perhaps this is something that has become not affordable. And we'd like to stop the hemorrhaging. And also, we went over the lease agreement, as I said, and in the end, it was just determined that it would be best to stick with the terms of the conditions of the lease agreement. As Attorney Miller pointed out earlier, the written contract governs the terms and conditions, and it clearly states what course of action we have in the event of a default. And so that's why we basically just went back to say, let us follow the terms of the lease agreement. And as Attorney Miller said, when you do that, there's never 100% guarantee that everything will go as it should ideally, but generally, when we do stick with the terms of the lease agreement, and I think our actions over the past 9, almost 10 years have shown that we've tried in every way to support and meet the needs, but I believe it's come to a point where we have to put the needs in the best interest of our stakeholders and dispossessed owners at this time. And therefore, that is why we recommend to the board the actions that the Director Birch just presented in bullet points as our next step in addressing the issues.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Wesley. Any other comments? Any other comments? If not, I believe then we should move with the resolution. And yeah, let's ratify the resolution and notify them in writing. Yeah, because like Commissioner Wesley, we've been asking for replies in writing, and they've yet to even send us that. And they're also flexing, they're asking us to defer 18 months for construction costs. That's a year and a half, over a year and a half. So,
Mr. Vice Chair, I think the
any-
proper
go
way
ahead.
the easiest way and the proper way to handle this is by the board making a motion and adopting the motion. And then Gita,
Okay.
being our property managers, be the agency that is assigned to notify Northern Market of the decision of the Board of Commissioners.
Okay. So is there a motion on the floor to proceed with the recommendation of the subcommittee on the Northern Marketing matter?
I'll make that motion as presented by our director
Okay,
on the Northern Market.
okay, the motion on the floor by Commissioner Cruz. Is there a second on that motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Orlino. Any discussion on the matter before we go for a vote?
It's just want to make sure it's going to be the one to create the notice with a copy to Guam Ancestral Land, since
Okay,
they are managing there are the managers of our property.
yes, I agree. Tony, I agree, you know, if when you prepare that letter of notification, please make have CC copy us board members on that. I'd appreciate that. Make
Vice
sure
Chair.
the go ahead, Commissioner Wesley.
Yes, and Mr. Ariola, I would also further request, in addition to what Commissioner Cruz has requested, that that whatever notice the GITA prepares for us, that it be reviewed by our attorney to make sure that it is all proper and within the guidelines of you know, the parameters in which we are to do this.
Yes, very well. Yeah, well, I agree.
Cool.
Good, Commissioner Wesley. So, any other comments? Any other from any commissioners before we go for the vote? Call for the vote? Any other comments? Okay, with that, then we'll go for the vote, and all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 I
Okay, I see 5. Okay, so motion passes. Okay, Mr. Director.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay. Motion
Okay.
passes.
Hey, Vice Chair, the next item on the agenda will still in old business will be the Department of Public Health, Social Services, Women, Infant and Children's MOU and License Agreement. Now, would you like me to proceed with that?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Department of Public Health and Social Services, the Guam Special Supplemental Nutrition and Program for Women, Infants and Children, also known as WIC, currently leases from the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission a portion of lot number 2276, consisting of building number 15-6100, including an adjacent old concrete utility building, parking lot, and common area consisting of approximately 8,000 square feet at Tijan. And a memorandum of understanding between the commission and Public Health WIC was executed on April 30, 2018 for a period of 5 years for this lease. And that MOU will expire this month on April 30 at the end of this month. We did receive a written request from the Director of Public Health requesting an extension of the MOU for another 5 years. I understand that there's a cap on the funding or that the WIC program receives, and although the MOU allows for an appraisal of the property, that'll be up to the commission. But I understand that whatever money comes out would be money that may be removed from the infants and children that receive it now for their subsistence. So I'm just recommending to approve the MOU and to move forward. Of course, I'm also aware that public health is in the process of trying to obtain funds to build a new building for them to move into. I don't know how long that will take, but I do believe that will come within the 5-year period. So I recommend that for the commission to approve the extension of the public health WIC MOU with Ancestral Lands.
Okay,
And we did hear report from Gita that they have made substantial steps for satisfying or closing out their arrears, where now it's pretty much a minimal amount that's left out there.
yes. Okay. I have no problem with that. And any other comments from the commissioners on the granting of the extension? Yeah, because I see that they did make their $8,000 payment, monthly payment, plus the outstanding balance of 29K, and they are also making an effort to pay additional 42K. Am I correct there, Tony?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair, they did make a payment of the 42,000 already.
Oh, they made that payment. Very good.
Yeah, and it was remitted on March 3rd,
Okay. So their current balance right now is,
$29,099.35.
okay, very good. Okay. I have no objection on the extension. Any other comments from the other members, commissioners?
No objection. It's good to know that they've made a large payment recently, at least a big effort to, to update their payment. Also knowing that they're asking for an extension, so it's a good faith payment, and I'm hopefully of the balance soon. So, thank you.
Okay. Any other
If-
comments? Okay, Commissioner Wesley?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Lavagna. So could, Director, could you please repeat how long a term for the extension for of the MOU?
5 years.
5 years. And is this to be under the same terms and conditions? Is that what they're requesting?
Yes.
Okay. Which could continue just the monthly rent of 8,400 per month, or are there escalations built into the MOU?
It's up to the commission. The escalations are based on appraisal, similar to what we did for Matson. That's in the current MOU and provided for in the next one. Currently, they're paying $1.05 per square foot. They take care of all the maintenance and any upgrades that need to be done to the building and or the property. Of course, way back, the Board of Commissions passed a resolution stating that at the discretion of the board, that the board could reimburse them for any large encumbrances that they may have towards the repair of the buildings. Pretty much like what we did with the Guam Environmental Protection Agency when we repaired their roof, we paid for that. It's pretty much the similar thing. The big difference is that the Public Health WIT program has made great effort and have made great advancements in clearing out the arrears in their payments. And the other thing is that they pay more per square foot than EPA. EPA pays $1 per square foot, and the WIC program pays $1.05 per square foot.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to recalling my mind and that refresher. So the MOU has built into it.
Yes.
the reappraisal of value?
Yes,
Is that every so many years, or it's at discretion, or is this at the beginning of each extension?
at the beginning of each extension.
I see. Okay. So once we agree, then basically, then we're locked in for the next
Yes.
5 years. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification.
Commissioner Westing, very well. Any other comments? If not, is there a motion on the floor to grant the WIC their 5-year extension for their MOU? Is there a motion on the floor? Mr. Director? I'm not sure if the acting vice chair is holding a meeting allowed to move, make a motion. Am I
You're
allowed?
chairing the meeting. It would not be appropriate.
Yeah, that's
it
right. I
should
agree.
be-
Okay. Once again, I'm calling, is there a motion on the floor? For to grant the WIC MOU extension of 5 years with the same stipulations, which would just carry on?
I
Is
have
there
a
a motion?
question. Thinking, okay, now, going back to Commissioner Whistling comments and questions, does this mean also that if we should approve another extension of 5 years, that the rent may escalate based on the fair market value?
If we do an appraisal before
Are
we
going- Okay, so do
sign
we
on,
plan
yes.
to do an appraisal?
Knowing that there's a federal cap, they have matching funds with GovGuam and there's a federal cap on what they receive. And knowing that this is an important program out there that benefits people in need, women, infant and children who are below a certain threshold of income. I don't know, I'll leave it up to you, but personally, I feel that we should give as much as we can to this program. And if we do an appraisal, how much would it take out of their rent? I mean, out of their funding to apply to the rent?
Director
It's a-
Birch, if I may, ask for you to, again, to clarify. What is the square footage that they have in their building, and what is the square footage price you mentioned earlier that they're paying currently?
$1.05 for 8,000 square feet. It amounts to, that was just in the GITA report earlier,
$8,400.
$8,400
Okay.
a month. And
Okay,
they've made,
I'm sorry, please
yeah,
continue.
they've had difficulty in making their payments, but they've made great strides and advancements in bringing the arrears down over the last few years to a point that I feel is more manageable. Okay, so yes,
Okay,
it is.
and they take care of all repairs and maintenance with no charges to Guam Ancestral Lands Commission?
That's true. They handle all maintenance, security, any repairs. But I do remind you that in the past, Ancestral Lands did pass a resolution at the discretion of the Board of Commissioners to reimburse them for any of these costs. But that's at our discretion, and we're not held to that, and it's not part of the contract. And that's where I had a problem dealing with that when I read that resolution. that that resolution is contradicts certain sections of the contract. But again, it was a good faith effort on the commission, realizing, I guess, the importance of the program at that time that they passed that resolution. So I'm just reminding you that that was a decision made a few years back. I believe we have that resolution attached to the documents. With the MOU to remind you of that. Of what was made back then, or the decision made by the Board of Commissioners.
And I'm sorry, where was that resolution? Is it
Okay.
in today's packet or was it under separate email?
It should be in today's packet.
Today's packet? Okay, let me just look.
Kathy, you put the packet together. Is the resolution attached to the WIC program?
Yes, sir. It's part of the packet.
It
Mara
is?
put them in sections when she sent it out.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm fine. Okay, I have it here.
You found it?
Yes, I'm sorry. Understanding. Station done. Example. Payments. I'm just looking for that resolution. I'm sorry, I just wanted to.
Okay, and I'll
Agreement.
Vice Chair. Mr. Director. Can you hear me?
yes.
Sorry, apologize. I'm sorry,
Okay,
I'm
any
on the
other
road, I'm
comments?
driving, but I do
no
have just
problem
one.
with the extension. That is um, a good program for persons with limited income. It's a supplemental assistance program for persons with need, in need, women, infant, and children. Speaks for itself. So I don't know. 5 years goes fast, and I don't even consider escalation costs. We just carry it on since they are making an effort to catch up on their payments, and they are planning on moving out. So
I
Question?
I could read the resolution. I found it. Would you like me to read the resolution? It was made in 2012.
Could you, because
other,
I'm
comments?
sorry, I can't find it. I mean, I found the MOU and the license agreement, but I don't see
Okay.
the resolution here.
Okay,
unless-
I
anyways,
think we're having audio problems.
I have a question. And can you hear me?
yes.
I have a question, and this may involve getting an opinion from the AG. Is that if we were if we weren't going to assess their fair market value, and we have other leases with the same kind of provision, will that, with us not taking action to I with the lease, reassessing the fair market value when it's time for renewal, would that impact on our other leases with the Guam Ancestral Land Commission and other companies such as Matson and Smithbridge and the other leases? So
Okay, I'm screen sharing. Can you see the resolution on your screen?
yes,
Okay. I can scroll down when you're ready, but
Okay.
this was passed in the year 2012.
Commissioner, just in answer to your question, the answer is no, it doesn't impact because each lease and each contract stands on its own, what we call its own four corners. However, that being said, if you do it, if you do it in one, you do not have a legal obligation to do it in another. However, the others may ask
Yes.
for it, and you could say no at that time if you want to, but it's not automatically you open the door and everybody just walks in.
That's great to know.
And by the way, this is just an MOU, Mr. Director.
Yes, it's an MOU. I was told that between government agencies, we do MOUs, not licenses. There's another issue that'll come up when we get to the EPA side of the agenda. But the resolution here does not bind us for changing anything in the MOU. This is simply something that the Board of Commissioners decided back in the year 2012 for specific cases that they may want to offset, I guess, for whatever reason, any repairs to buildings that have been done by tenants. And so I looked at this and I looked at the MOU with WIC and this, and I found that in the past that once a year or so, we would reimburse them for any costs that they occurred or incurred because of any renovations to the buildings or repairs. But in the contract or the MOU, it states very clearly that they are responsible for that. That's why I said the resolution is a conflict, but it's at the discretion of the board to provide any, I guess, any relief, I guess you can call it, to the tenant. And so this is called the Tenant Improvement Allowances, or TIA. And at the bottom, it says, be it resolved that Guam Ancestral Lands Commission expresses its approval to consider TIAs that meet the above criteria for local government agencies who are or may be tenants of those properties administered by the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission and signed by our
All of us.
commissioners. Yes. I think Commissioner Tony Ada, his signature is missing, but it did have a majority of signatures. And many of you are still serving today on this board. So that's why I bring this up. Just so that you're aware that it does exist, or a reminder that it does exist. And the decision was made a few years back. And I do understand why government agencies with MOUs like the WIC program were considered for this.
Just as a clarification, I just want to point out, and this policy or this resolution is not automatically applied to everyone who wants the benefits of it. It just really resolves for the commission to consider it, which indicates a case-by-case basis. So in this particular case, which is WIC, the commission can approve or deny, just like any application. And it could also set conditions. I think you mentioned 5 years, could be less than 5 years. Those are just clarifications. This is not just, a carte blanche automatic, you just apply and you get it. And you don't always get it. I don't see 5 years anywhere in here. Just looking at this, the language here. So it doesn't necessarily have to, be a 5-year plan.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
And also the extension or renewal, although the request is for the full term, it could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's all at the discretion of the commission.
Okay, okay, thank you all very much for that clarification. So.
I
um,
could-
what-
I'll stop the screen sharing, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
We go ahead. Okay.
So once again, thank you all for that clarification. So as I understand it, the resolution does not automatically obligate Guam and Sister Lands Commission to concede and give TIAs. It's up to our discretion to either approve a request for a TIA or to deny it.
That is
Yes.
correct.
Okay, thank you. So based on that, I support the request for the extension.
Commissioner Orlino. Commissioner Orlino, you are on the
Okay.
floor.
Yeah, I remember because since the existing building belongs to Guam Ancestral Land Commission, that's why we made that resolution back then. Because remember, if they should move out, or they're planning to move out, our building is still okay for the next incoming tenant. And then back then again, we were in consideration with the importance of the women, infant, and children. And I myself, I totally supported that to go ahead and approve that for the fact that knowingly that that's our building and whatever improvement they make, it'll come back to us, although we have to pay out. Of course, it's our building, we have to upkeep, right? And it doesn't necessarily means that we have to continue it if they're resolute, if they want to extend another 5 years. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do it. But remember, it's our building. And it works, it win-wins it both ways. They pay, they give us all the receipts, we reimburse them. So that's how it works with that resolution, right?
Yeah, the resolution's at the discretion of the Board of Commissioners.
Right.
It is not in the MOU.
No.
That comes after the fact if the board feels that to assist the tenants, that they would give them the allowances for any repairs. But in the contract and the MOU, it's very clear that the WIC program is 100% responsible for paying any repairs or maintenance for the building. But then I guess back in 2012, the Board of Commissioners at that time, which includes many of you here today, felt that the importance of the program was so great that we could not take away from the funding sources that are provided to these people in need,
That's right.
especially the most vulnerable of our community, the infants and children. So I understand that's why it was written, but it's not written into the MOU. It's purely at the discretion of the board, should they ever make a request at that time.
That's right.
So what they're asking for is basically to extend the MOU pretty much as written.
I'm in agreement, but they also have to keep up with their monthly payment, and all the others are looking in at us. And if
Yes.
they say we could give one, we could give the other, but it all depends on the needs, because back then I supported that 100% WIC program.
Yes, and it's shown by the record that the WIC program has made great strides in coming up and paying off their arrears. That was in the GITA report that made earlier.
That's right. So
I have a question,
yeah.
Mr. Director. Is this
Yes.
WIC, was the one where we had to repair their roof? Is that?
No.
No, that was
No, okay.
EPA.
Okay,
Uh,
anyways, When does the MOU expire again?
The end of
Yep.
this month, April 30.
Oh, okay. Perhaps maybe we can do an inspection. Take a look at it and see what's the condition of the building,
Oh, yes, I can arrange that.
interior wise. That way we'll have an idea of the condition, is it, that way they can, we run
Yeah.
into any other
And I
matters of
understand,
concern.
we did that for EPA. And, and EPA is a very important agency too, but they've not been as, I guess, forthcoming as WIC. WIC has
Yeah.
been really trying their best to
Yeah.
pay their bills. EPA has tried, but they've just been keeping up and not really eliminating any of the arrears as of today. And yet we did go ahead and repair the roof for them, while their contract basically says they're responsible for doing that, but we took that burden on ourselves. And we have not
Correct.
done much in that way for the WIC program. They've pretty much been covering all their maintenance and repairs with their budget.
All right. So shall you conduct inspection prior to the renewal of the MOU, or?
Well, they do get matching funds, and I guess we could still conduct an inspection and make decisions later, since we already have a resolution that allows us
Okay.
to assist them. But they do need, because of the timelines, they have to prove to whoever provides the federal funding to them that they do have a contract, or we can move them on a month-to-month extension if that pleases the board, or else we could just approve it and move forward with the inspection and find what we need to do to improve the building.
Okay.
But their request is it'll make it easier on them with their federal funding to prove that they do have an MOU or a contract in place. Because remember, once we should we agree to extend the MOU, it still has to go through the process of preparing the extension and having all the signatories sign off on it. And that includes not only us, but also public health. And because Gita's our property managers, it would include them, the Attorney General's office, and then of course the governor. So it will make its rounds, and that alone would take about a month or so.
Okay. I have no problem. So, any other comments from the other commissioners?
If not, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor by Commissioner Cruz
Okay,
for the extension of the WIC program for an additional 5 years. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Orlino. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Commissioner Westling, did you have your hand up? No. Oh, okay. So without further ado, we'll call for the vote, and I would like to have everyone vote all together at once with saying aye and raise your hand. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and any opposed? Anyone oppose? No opposition? All in favor, said aye, and motion passes. If moving on, Mr. Director.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. Okay, now, Mr. Vice Chair, we're moving into new business. And first off on this is I guess this is one hits me personally, so I'm going to turn this over to Kathy, but it's the Executive Director's salary adjustment. But just to give you a short background on this, we received the attached GG1 on March 7, just a day before the last regular monthly meeting of the Ancestral Lands Board of Commissioners. And therefore, we were unable to address the pay adjustment at that time because it was not on the agenda. And with open government law, we're required to place all issues that we would be taking a vote on the agenda. And so it is on today's agenda, and the pay adjustment was approved by the governor at the inception of the governor and lieutenant governor's second term in office with an effective date of January 1st of this year. But BBMR informed us that in order to proceed, we need to place the issue on the agenda and obtain the board's approval to ratify the pay adjustment. That the pay adjustment will become effective upon the processing of the GG1 with DOA. And with that, I'd like to just turn it over to Kathy, because there's a conflict of interest with me on here, and have her carry it forward for any questions that any of the members of the board could ask. And then, of course, if you have any questions for me, I'm more than willing to respond. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Very, very well. Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, so another thing to take note is that the actual DG1 is dated, the date of the request is actually February 24th. The request was actually made in February, and but I guess it went through BDMR, which is the process that the governor's office goes through. So after BDMR reviewed it, and then they submitted it to us March 7th. And unfortunately, this is the soonest that we can get it onto our agenda.
Okay. And
In order for
And
this to pass, I would have to, after today's meeting, I would have to package it. I would have to package the minutes, the agenda, and the chairman would have to sign this DG1 and we send it back to BDMR.
can you share that on a screen, the pay adjustment? If is that possible?
Mr. Burke, may you share it, please? Also, the pay adjustment was done by governor's office. It did not go through our office.
We'd just like to know the pay adjustment.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see the screen share?
Yeah, but we don't see further down. Okay, from 66
66,000.
to 75.
Okay, I thought it was 73.
Any comments from the commissioners?
Yes, Vice Chair Lawanya, this is Commissioner Westling.
Go ahead,
Um,
Commissioner Wesley.
The proposed pay adjustment. Does that come out of the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission's budget?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
did we budget for this?
No, ma'am.
We did not. Okay.
No.
And but it's to be if passed, retroactive to January 1st, right?
Yes, currently at the moment, Mr. Burke, asked Attorney Miller, about the legality of the retro pay. We do have money to cover this, salary adjustment based on the fact that we received, a supplemental budget from the general fund of $90,000. So the difference from the difference, from his old rate to the new rate and how much we would have to fund for toward the end of the year is $5,000, about $5,000.
Okay. Okay, so while we do have money, that 90,000 was, we've allocated that for stuff already?
Yes, sir.
We have, right? So
Yes.
if we take the money from that, then we may have a shortfall in some of the stuff that has been allocated for.
Actually what it is, us having not to pay for legal services was a blessing in disguise. That's where the money's gonna come from. So previously, when Nick Tuck, Attorney Tuck was our attorney, we had
Okay.
the MOU.
Okay,
With the-
okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So the money was earmarked for legal expenses, but now we don't have, now we find out that we will not have any legal expenses, so therefore the money that was set aside for that doesn't have to be used for that.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
go ahead. Right, Commissioner Wesley. Any other questions? Does this, Kathy, does this, include the governor's proposal for the 22% increase?
No,
Or
sir.
all, this doesn't? Okay.
Mr. Burke is not entitled to a 22% increase.
That's not, no, what according to what I heard all unclassified employees are included in that as well. But I may be mistaken, but did they pass that already? That
Yes, sir, they
legislation?
did. Yes.
Oh. Any other questions?
Well, Vice Chairman Lavagna, is there any way to verify what you heard?
Yeah, I think maybe we
Yeah.
should get a copy of the legislation that was approved. Because what I heard was that it was across the board, also for unclassified positions. That included directors, I believe.
Kathy, what we did sign, what I signed off on was for the staff. I did not include my name on that.
Correct.
That was sent down to Department of Administration.
Correct, sir. The law was only for the employees, but not the governor's executive staff. I'm trying to find the law.
Yeah, get a copy of the law. Because that's what I heard.
Yeah, it would include unclassified, but then the terms of, I guess, those who are limited term and those who are not at the cabinet level. That's
no.
my understanding. So
Okay.
that
Yeah.
employees that are employed, like those in GITA who are unclassified, they
Yeah.
would be included because none of those
Yeah.
employees are classified. And just like
Correct.
at the commissioner's office, those people are usually unclassified employees. That's my understanding of that. That's why when I signed off on who here at Ancestral Lands would be included in that, it included only the staff and not the executive director position.
Okay,
That was my understanding.
yeah,
So,
okay,
and then, of course, for FY 23, to resolve that issue of the staff receiving the 22%, that would be a supplemental budget that will come in separately. And so because our budget, pre-budget hearing meeting with the OFB is next week, we've already prepared a budget for FY 24 that would include the difference of the 22% pay increase for the staff and not the director.
okay. Thanks for that clarification. Yeah, if it doesn't include cabinet heads. Thanks for the clarification. Any other comments? Okay, I guess you can remove that from the screen, Mr. Director.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no other comments, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Cruz.
I'm making a motion to approve the director's pay raise that he's due from 6,392 to 75,227 per annum. And we did agree that he's doing a fantastic job, as leading the commission.
Is there a second on the floor?
I, just for clarification, are you approving the pay raise this in the exact form of the GG1 that was shown, which had a start date of January 1, I think is where that was. I think I saw January. So I'm not disagreeing that a pay raise is, warranted or not warranted. It's just that start date. And we, the AG's office, have an opinion that when it comes to the directors, because they are unclassified, there is a law that says that the pay raise or the pay increment, the salary adjustment, whatever it's called, begins from the day it's approved. So if you approve it today, then the GG1 start date needs to be changed. There's no retro back to January. Okay. Unclassified employees are different. You probably could send it back because that's based on a performance evaluation. And that's one of the benefits of being classified, is that people can't sit on, meaning boards don't and directors can't sit on a classified employee's GG1 for years and not give them the increment that they were entitled to, a couple months back. But with the unclass, and I can send the board our opinion. This was an opinion that was issued in a GURA case, which was a pay raise to the GURA executive director. So I'm just saying that that's fine. Just make sure the GG1 gets changed. That's all.
Okay.
Okay, very well. Kathy, you will address that matter, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So based on the Attorney Miller's opinion, is there any other comments, questions on the proposed increase?
Yeah.
Any other
Commissioner
comments?
Cruz, do you want to amend your motion to include that?
To include the AG's opinion. Yes, we should settle for involving the AG's opinion on any unclassified pay raises. And then look into the matter of possibly making it retro if we're permitted, but we can put that off the table for now and just make it effective
Today.
as soon as we approve this increase, which is hopefully today.
Okay.
Okay, so there is amendment to the
second.
motion. Okay, before there's an amendment to the motion to include the Attorney General Miller's opinion regarding the effective date. Is there any other, is there a second on the matter? On the motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Wessling. Any other discussions? Okay, with no discussions, let's vote to approve the director's pay adjustment. All in favor, say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Those not in favor, say nay. All in favor, motion approved.
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay.
And thank you, Attorney Miller.
Thank you, Attorney Miller.
Okay, next on the next item on new business.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, the next issue or item on new business is the Guam EPA outstanding arrears. I'm not sure which commissioner asked for this to be placed on, but what we did is we provided you with the current lease or license agreement. This is different from WIC, where with EPA, we actually have a license agreement, which was again, the license agreement. This is an odd one. It was signed by the various people in the agencies without the AG's signature or the governor's signature, but attached to that, we do have an MOU, I guess, supporting the license agreement. And the MOU pretty much, I guess, ratifies it because that has the AG's signature and the governor's signature on it, inclusive of all other signatories that were required. But basically, the license agreement with the EPA was effected on October 3rd, 2005, and was for a term of 30 years. So that means their license or their lease agreement will continue on to the year 2035. I do know that in the past, what was included here was also an MOU prepared by the commission back in 2015, and it was an attempt to increase the compensation for, I guess, the rent, to increase it, because currently for about the same amount of space EPA rents, and pretty much the same or similar building, they are paying only $1 a square foot. And there was an attempt to increase it to $1.05 per square foot. And the director back then during that time, and he's still the director today, Walter Leon Guerrero, pretty much refused to sign that change to the agreement. So we're stuck with the original MOU and the original license. And of course, according to the GITA report, they're way behind in making payments. And that's why this was placed on the agenda. But I just needed you to be aware that we do have an MOU or a license agreement / MOU with the Guam EPA. And also what I attached to this was a resolution made in 2011 by Ancestral Lands, pretty much expressing our concerns then about the ability of EPA to come current with their lease payments. And up until today, I have to admit that it has been a very difficult time trying to make any collections from them. They have been paying, but they're going back through the records that I researched. There was a period of time where they lost their federal funding that was to be made. That was, of course, where they're getting the funds to pay for their lease. And then somehow they were able to get it back, and they continued from them paying the lease, but not the lease payments, but they did not pay the arrears during that period of time. And so this has gone on for years, I guess, since Ancestral Lands was created. It's an ongoing thing that for those of you who've been on the commission for that many years, you're aware of this issue. So I did attach a resolution, or had it attached to this issue. And I don't see any EPA personnel here to explain anything to us, but I guess Gita's here to give us any updates on the payments from from EPA. I guess Tony.
Yeah, as I have reported, that the last payment they made was March 16 for the amount of 8,000. Pending another 24,000 that's going through DOA for them to process the payment. Like I said, I spoke to Connie, their ASO, and she stated that they'll be remitting more payments as funds become available. Right now they're still having a difficult time, I guess, receiving funds through the general fund. From my understanding, their funding of 50% comes from the feds, and then the other 50% is from the general fund. So Connie has stated that they are having a difficult time getting funding through the general fund.
They have an outstanding balance of 256,000. Am I correct?
That's-
Tony?
Yes.
Mr. Ariola, this is Commissioner Westling. I believe at one of our meetings, either last month or the month before, we had requested that a representative from EPA be present at at our meetings so that we could talk with them. Was that notice ever issued to them? And was there, if it was, what response did we get, if any?
Yeah, Commissioner Westling, that was dependent on if they were gonna make payments. And we did receive the payment on March 13. That if we were not to receive that payment, that we were gonna invite them to attend this board meeting.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rioli, I think we have a miscommunication there. I think we wanted them because I believe I was the one who requested they come, and it was not it was basically defined to question them as to when the 200,000 plus would be paid, and not just these tidbits of payments that they've been making. Because we've time and time again have gotten empty promises of when funding is available, we'll pay. But that doesn't address when is there a 200,000 plus outstanding balance going to be paid. And so I will go back to the request that they be present at our next meeting, whether or not they make a payment, so that we can have an opportunity to talk with them, because I have questions.
All
Okay,
right,
very
Commissioner.
well.
We'll inform Deepa to be in attendance on the next upcoming board meeting.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, so I'm understanding we're going to table this issue till the next meeting. Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes, we'll table that, Mr. Director. Moving on.
okay, we'll make sure it's on the old business next meeting. Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, the next new business would be the process for returning federal lands that have been declared excess.
Okay.
You want me to proceed?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Proceed with that.
okay. Okay, this is something a question I put to Attorney Miller. Especially, we know that properties are being returned. There's been a perception out there that properties are not being returned, and that if they are being returned, that we can't return them to the original landowners. But the properties being returned are being returned under different laws, different transfer authorities. And to my knowledge, we have at least 5, possibly 6 properties to be returned. The Tengisin Beach Park, the transfer authority being returned is 103,339. And that transfer authority does have a loophole for where we could return it to the original landowners. But the issue with Tengisin Beach Park, it does not have any original landowners. It was property purchased by the federal government. And then the Maui Tunnel, the transfer authority is US Public Law 103,339. That again, it has the ability for us to return it to the original landowners, but recent newspaper articles have stated that it will be given to the mayor of Tamuni, for the community of Tamuni. And USO Beach Park, which is also called Hoover Park, that now is under the transfer authority of US Public Law 106,504, which closes the loophole that allows us ancestral lands to return these properties to the original landowners. And that is a very small lot, perhaps about 5 acres or so. And it has 20 to 25 estates, familial estates that have claim to that. That one, my understanding has that I believe I've heard the mayor of PD expressing his delight that he will be receiving that property. And then, of course, there's also Partial 7 Camp Covington, that's down in the Hagat area. The transfer authority of that is US Public Law 103,339. That one does allow us to return that to the original landowners. But at issue here is the authority, whose authority and what process are these lands to, and to transfer them once they were received by Gov Guam, which agency has the authority to do so? My reading of the various public laws, the local laws that have been passed by the legislature, is that all future properties will be received by the Director of Land Management and then transferred to ancestral lands to register in our excess lands registry. And then after that, if any government entity or any group out there will want them, they would have a 45-day period to petition the Board of Commissioners. But I just needed that to be clarified because I know I will be called soon, and I know we'll be having meetings with the legislature. I just needed that to be clarified, that that is my assessment of the transfer process is true and correct. Because if that's the case, those properties that are to be returned should be processed through the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. Of course, there are a couple of other properties that are currently in the process of being returned. And one is the Tengisin power plant. The other is the Hagatnya power plant. But those are being returned under another transfer authority, which is US Public Law 100-202, which allows the federal government to transfer those properties directly to the Guam Power Authority. I don't believe that that has anything to do with the Ancestral Lands Commission, but I look to be corrected if Attorney Miller could indulge us.
Yes,
Am I-
so we
Yes.
are still working, our office is still working on a written opinion, but thank you for the good summary. Basically, when it, just in a nutshell, when lands are transferred back from the federal government, the federal law prevails. So whatever it says in there is, those are the conditions for return. Okay, so we look at each law, and there are quite a number of them. This goes all the way back to, I think, one of the older public laws back in the 90s. And in fact, we have already several AG opinions on the process of returning. I looked at those and I thought, maybe it's time for an update of these because everything has changed with respect to Tengisin. There being no ancestral lands, that really would just go back into the trust. And the Tengisin property, is mired in all kinds of history and what it's been used for. And there's always plans on the table for it. So yes, we're working on that. And we hope to have that done. There's a process here for the review of written opinions versus just off the cuff. This is kind of unofficial opinions. And, apologize for the delay, but our turnaround is kind of backlogged right now. And if you would just give us a little bit longer, we'll get that out to you.
Thank you, Attorney Miller.
I want to make a comment.
Go ahead.
Okay, I've been a commissioner for the Guam ancestral land since I think 2002 and 2003, and we had followed, the public law 103-339, and if you look at all those transfers, this public law allowed us to return once it's returned to Government Guam, and it goes to land management. From there, it's transferred to the Guam ancestral land, and that's where the identification of public use was identified that public use will be better if the ancestors of those property are given back their land for economic purposes. So my point is a pattern has already been set on public law 139. So if we can just, follow that law, and 106, I know it's different. 106, that's 504, that's something different. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. 103-339 is the original Guam Excess Lands Act, and in it does set the you have to have a public use benefit. I think it even says something about a master plan in there.
Yes.
For public benefit use. And then the Guam legislature itself has passed no less than 4, maybe up to 4 laws that I can offhand think of with respect to excess lands and how to handle it. And really the bottom line is that it's for return to the ancestral landowners. It may be, if it doesn't have an owner, that it just goes into, that's when we start to look at the rules and regs as to, trying to get some public benefit out of it. So anyway, it's coming, and we'll get that out to you. I think you're next you're very close to the top of the queue is what I saw. Of the AG opinion queue.
Okay. And I knew that's a complicated issue.
Yes.
But I hope we can come up with an answer. So as soon as these deeds are signed over to Gov Guam, we have, a process that we can follow that's updated.
Yes, there's already a process in place, but it's not one that you just blindly follow every time. Things change, and depending on the land itself, right? The nature
Yes.
and the zone of the land itself. Yeah.
So I look forward to that opinion.
Yeah, I have a
Yes.
question. Attorney Miller. Does, with these federal excess lands being returned, I just would like to know who makes those determinations. Is that completely a federally decided matter, or is there any input from the local
You mean who?
administration? Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't know. It belongs to the federal government, so they sort of have the upper hand in that. But for some lands, I am aware of discussions with, in the past with the administrations, the various administrations, to return lands or to even bother to declare them excess. because sometimes they're on the excess list and then they fall off the excess list and something else is added. It's never the same. But yeah, in answer to your question, the determination is primarily the federal government.
Yeah, but with the possible advisement among our local administration, and if that's the case, our original landowners are at no hope when it's all going for public purpose. Because we during past administrations have been giving back lands to our original landowners.
Yes, yes.
And yet this
Many deeds have
administration
been
has,
set.
have many deeds, but just in this administration, we have not given only one, I recall, one deed signing. And it's just, I want to give hope to our original landowners that there is hope that they will get their properties back. Whether it be small enough, but give them that opportunity to be a part of the lands that belong to them and make them have the determination what to do with it. It's just going straight to these mayors. That's one of the questions that each mayor changes every 2 years. You got a different mayor's different approach, that's just a question that I would like to have more a dialogue in regards to these lands being returned to the rightful owners. That's just my feeling. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Mr.
Moving
Vice
forward.
Chair. Okay, great. So I guess we'll wait for the AG's opinion on that specific issue. Okay, next on the agenda is the Torres Estate litigation. This again was made at the request of Attorney William Bischoff, and Chairman Eclevea agreed to place it on the agenda. I don't see Attorney Bischoff's here, so I'm not sure what this is about, but the documents that he did send was basically a FOIA that he submitted to the Attorney General's office, and not knowing what his issue was, because I see the AG, based on these documents, had made a response to him. I don't know how to proceed further on it with Attorney Bishop not being present, unless Attorney Miller has a comment.
Yes, I do. And so after the last special meeting, the matter was forwarded up to Chief Deputy Attorney General Joseph Guthrie, who asked that all the documents be sent over to our white collar division for review, which that was just done recently. And for purposes of my role here with the commission, this is outside kind of our scope now, because in the civil solicitor side, the case says all 5 of them plus 2 probates, so 7 cases were settled and dismissed by the court, and we're going on 3 years since then. The issue also is a potential conflict of interest, because the commission has questions of the civil division as to how did this occur, why wasn't the commission consulted. It's in the media, it's one of those things, and essentially the commission's asking the civil division questions about what it did, right? About why it did what it did. So I think there was a talk about maybe finding independent counsel to assist the commission in this regard. But that's something to be discussed with the Attorney General and with the other divisions. But from here in civil division, and again, from my role here, there's not a lot of comment that we can make with respect to the hows and whys, especially since the folks who were involved, the attorneys who were involved, are no longer here. for me to even ask them personally. I think the position is as set forth in the email from Nick Toft and Dag Jamie Canto, which is what Attorney Bischoff, disputes. So maybe when he comes, and I think he's been talking to, he sent another FOIA request upstairs to the Attorney General. I don't know how that was responded. That was some time ago as well. So it's up to you if you want to keep it on your agenda. I'm just saying that, I can no longer, respond to this because it's just sort of, it's in a different division of this office now.
Mr. Vice
But
Chair?
just so you know, it has been forwarded. It's there. We did our part, and the other half of the office has everything it needs.
Yeah, I'm aware that the statute of limitations, according to Attorney Bishop, runs in July. So it doesn't give the commission much time.
I was wondering where he got that. So I went and looked that up. So he said it was 3 years. So if the settlement agreement was in 2020, July 2020, then it would be July 2023. However, there's another sentence in that statute, and it says that the time the clock starts to tick, if you will, from the time when the commission or the aggrieved party learns of the facts that give rise to its complaint. And from what I can tell, you guys all didn't learn about this until maybe September 2022, October 2022. And if that's correct, and I have mentioned this also to the other division, that they should double check the statute of limitations, that would bring you to 2025 because you didn't learn about it until 22.
That's true. We were
Yes.
informed that it was still in process, waiting for a response, even though we've made several requests.
Yeah, so you
So-
didn't actually know, right?
Yeah, we didn't know. We were asking, where was it during that time? The commissioners, the members of the Board of Commissioners were asking, where is the case? Why is it stalled? What's happening? And all we could get was a response that it's in process. We'll wait until Attorney Bischoff informed us that the case was dismissed.
And you did not know, you didn't
We had-
know what had happened. Is that right? So because where did it go? I just had that statute in front of me, but it says, and I can email it out. It says that the clock starts when you learn of the facts. And if you didn't learn of the facts until 2022, and I see documents that indicate that actually, then you have until 2025.
Okay,
But
so then
yeah.
then it gives us an opportunity, if the AG's office agrees to give us independent counsel to proceed with this, if there's a conflict with the AG's office handling it.
Yes, if there is a conflict, that's something that can be discussed. I don't know how that would work out. I think you'd have to put out, the AG would have to be involved in the procurement of independent counsel. And then there is that of funding, the issue of funding it.
Yes, and
those are things that can be discussed with Chief Prosecutor Heather Zona, which is where the White Collar Division is located.
okay.
If anything, and I can't speak for what they will or will not do.
Okay, that's good information to know.
So should we contact Heather Zona, or she will get a hold of us knowing that they're working on it? Or will you contact her and tell her we're very interested?
Yeah, I will let her know that you guys are interested and we'll take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
I'll, yeah.
All right, thank you. Moving on, Mr. Director.
Okay, moving on. That's the end of the new business, Mr. Vice Chair. Next will be public comments. I don't know, is there anyone? I see Ed here. I'm not sure what's his last name. He has his hand raised, Mr. Vice Chair.
Okay, Ed, yeah, you are on, sir. Ed, Pigo, you're on mute. Please address the board.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Edward Salas. Oops, give me a second here because. Okay, my name is Edward Salas Tovis, and I'm speaking on behalf of my auntie Evelyn Salas Leon Guerrero. She's not present. She has an emergency. She submitted a letter to Executive Director John Birch just 2 days ago. So I don't know if the chair, the vice chair, or any of the other commissioners received that particular letter to even digest. If not, I would like to request that it be placed on the next agenda. That way you guys can have time to review it.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Mr. Director, did you receive that letter,
Yes.
Mr. Director?
We received the letter recently, too late to place it on the agenda. And of course, I did read it. It involves an issue wanting to, I guess, modify a proposed easement. Joey could speak on this. I'm not sure
Okay.
that, and this is through private property, ancestral lands property that has been returned. I believe the easement is proposed, and that's a process that will take a bit of time. Joey could explain it in more detail. Now, I don't know if ancestral lands has the authority now at this point in time to move on making any changes to easements or any proposals, or that's something within the Department of Land Management's jurisdiction. But yes, we did receive that. But like I mentioned before we started the meeting, is that we're right now in the middle of preparing for a meeting with the Office of Finance and Budget at the legislature next week. And the speaker has a special request from us that has been extremely taxing on our small staff here. And we plan to have all of that information ready by the deadline time. But if it's the desire of the commission, we could place it on the agenda for discussion, or you could, Joey, you could explain it in greater detail. I shared that information with Joey Leon Guerrero.
Okay.
Joey, could you
Very
speak to
well.
that a bit?
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Oh,
Can you?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much Mr. Birch summarized it. They're requesting for the proposed what the board approved, the tentative Radio Barragata master plan. Yes, they're requesting for it to be realigned, if that's the term, that's the correct term. And so they're gonna ask the board if they could approve or look at their request and see if they can approve it. But there was also an additional request to have the landowners compensated for the portion of the easement where it's a portion of the property where the easement's going through. So we can look through that. I mean, we can look at their request, and I'll work with Miss Evelyn Leon Guerrero and see exactly what she needs. There's no maps or I guess of what they're trying to request, but we can assist them. And then, like Mr. Burr said, we'll put them on the agenda if you would like.
Okay, very well. Any other comments? The commission members?
If I could just add another note here, so I think what they were looking at is, there may be a shorter distance that could, be routed through the Crown lands, but that may cut the Crown land in half. So I think that's what they're looking at. But again, we'll look into the matter more with Ms. Leon Guerrero.
Okay,
Joy, where's this property at?
Their property is in Radio Barrigada. It's in Radio Barrigada A-7. So that's the eastern portion of the Radio Barrigada antenna site. They're right along the golf course. So part of their land is returned and part is not. And so they're based on the master plan that I looked at, they're like the last lot as far as having or needing access. And then from them, they would then provide access to their neighboring lot, and then that would end the easement. So they're at the end of the trail. And so, yeah, I mean, it's I think it would take a lot of investment right now from the private landowner to open it up. And I think they're trying to see what the government can do to help them out.
any other comments?
Thank you very
So-
much.
Okay, Mr. Tovis.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll address it on the next upcoming meeting. And perhaps Mr. Director and Mr. Leon Guerrero can provide us more insight on the what the commission can allow us to do. Because when it comes to easements, I think that is it's a matter between the landowners, but we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, we'll have some recommendations, realizing that the properties there are all private now and not government. And we'll see if our jurisdiction allows us to go beyond the government properties if we're going to open up easements. So that may be an issue there. But we'll try to discover what the issues are there. Right now, I do know it's a proposed easement, and part of the agreement was that should people start surveying their properties, that easements would be granted over their property. But we'd have to look into that further to assess it further. But right now, we're on the crunch time here at the office, preparing for the budget hearings and coming up next week, and also with the speaker's special request about all properties, pretty much all properties taken by the federal government, inclusive of those who have been returned and not returned, along with fair market values, which is a big challenge for us at this point, and they're all due next week. And just a reminder to the commissioners, if you haven't done so, your financial disclosure forms are due by the end of next week too.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ed.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, that's all,
Okay, that's
except
it.
for the announcements of the next ancestral land meeting.
Yeah,
If we're
okay.
staying with our schedule, it'll be the second Wednesday of the month. And for May, that would be May 10th.
Okay, so is there any other
Oh, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. Director Birch and
Yes.
Vice Chair, May 10th, I will be off island.
okay,
I leave that day.
Oh,
So, yeah, so I'm,
so
requesting to be excused. I'll be traveling to my son's graduation.
All right, okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
congratulations.
You
to
are,
that.
you are excused.
Thank you, sir. Very
You're
much.
in the air on May 10th?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
I'll be
I was
in the
gonna,
air.
I was gonna say you could access us anywhere with Zoom, but yeah, it might be difficult while you're flying. Unless we schedule it for another date and time, or else we're sticking with the original second Wednesday of every month.
Okay,
So then we'll
Okay.
take EPA off the agenda then, right?
No, I would certainly send my questions, and any of our board members could take them and question them.
All right.
Okay,
Can we
We
meet
tried-
the day before then? Day?
Uh,
Tuesday or
yeah, let's see. We do have time if you want to bring it up earlier. The first Wednesday of May. You want to keep it on Wednesday or to move the date around?
I'm fine.
Just that people
Keep
are
it
used
on
to seeing us on Wednesday. Keep it on Wednesday. So the other time would be, if you want earlier, will be May 3rd. That'll be the first Wednesday of May.
that's fine with me.
I see Kathy's waving her hand. Kathy?
Sir, our proposed budget hearing is gonna be May 4th.
Oh, thank you for the reminder. That would be an extremely busy day for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the legislature informed us that our proposed budget hearing is scheduled for May 4th.
What about May 8th? On a Monday.
Monday, May 8th. It's up to the commission, to the board.
I'm fine.
Okay, May 8th.
That'll be okay.
Let's
Send
May
out the
8th.
notice.
We'll send a notice. We'll set it all up. And that'll be at 2:30 PM.
Okay,
So Monday.
Okay, good.
okay. Anything else?
We've reached the end of our agenda, Mr. Vice Chair.
Okay, is there anything good of the commission?
That was a long.
Yeah,
that's a
congratulations,
lot of
Mr. Director.
documents.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations on your pay increase. And if there's anything, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Westling and reclamation, I believe. We are adjourned. Thank you. Now I can get some rest.
Adios.